Hey guys, what's up? It's Zyflin here. Welcome to episode 29 of Warframe, the Ultimate Beginner's Guide. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at using Equinox to efficiently farm the Mutalist Alad V nav coordinates so we can build the Mutalist Alad V key to go ahead and farm Mesa. Because I showed you guys Mesa in the last video using her to basically kill Kayla to Fame, and I didn't actually cover like how to properly go out of your way to farm her. So in today's video, we're going to be using Equinox, who you can farm from Titania on Uranus or Uranus, depending on if you're 12 or not and you want to laugh at that joke. But you get her from that node and by killing Talregger, of course. But she's one of those frames where she takes a lot to build because you actually have to build like two different Warframes type of things. So you have to build the day aspect and the night aspect, each of which take like, a helmet, a system, and neuroptic each. So you have to, farm the day, system, neuroptic, chassis, etc. And then you have to go and get the night version as well. Then you need to join the two together. And then you need to use that to build, obviously, Equinox herself. So, why is Equinox such a good frame? Because she has two different, types of Warframes, kind of, a little bit. Let's just go ahead and take a look at her abilities to begin with. So we have Metamorphosis. This is her one. This basically allows you to swap between Equinox's two different forms. So we have day and night. So you press one. Basically, depending on which form you're going into, you will get a buff. And, it obviously depends which form it is that you're going into. Will determine which buff you get. I don't know which one it is. So let's just go ahead and read. So you gain bonus shields and armor in night form, or bonus damage and speed in day form. So pretty cool, right? Next up, we have Rest and Rage. This is it's kind of like an AoE type ability, except it's like in an area that you're pointing at type thing. And basically what's going to happen with this one is you're going to put either a debuff on enemies if you're in day form, where they take more damage, or if you're in night form, you're going to put them to sleep, right? Moving on to Pacify and Provoke, we have in night form, reduce damage inflicted by nearby enemies, and then in day form, increase ability strength of nearby allies. Pretty cool. And then we have Mend and Maim. In night form, allies are healed with every nearby enemy killed, and then in day form, nearby enemies are bled and then subjected to a wave of slashing force. And that's going to be the ability that we are using in conjunction with Pacify and Provoke, and I'm going to show you guys how it all kind of works in an Orokin Derelict defense mission, which is where we're going to be farming our our Mutalist Alad V nav coordinates, right? So just to show you guys what the Mutalist Alad V nav coordinates are, you want to go ahead into your foundry, go over to your keys, and you'll get this here little blueprint right here after you complete the Patient Zero quest, which we did a very long time ago in this series. You see that you need these Mutalist Alad V nav coordinates. You need 3 of them, and you can get these on rotation B of Orokin Derelict defense, which is obviously 15 waves. So we're just going to speed run through this with Equinox, and using this exact build. It takes no forma, and the only corrupted mods you need are Fleeing Expertise and Overextended. You can get Continuity from Ukko in the Void. Stretch is a very common drop from Corpus enemies. Vitality, again, a very common drop. Flow, Intensify, and Streamline, you can get those from playing on Everest at Earth. So let's go ahead and take a look at the weapons we're using in the build. This is the Soma. It's a slash weapon. It's crit based. So you want to throw on Vital Sense Point Strike. Then your free main damage mods, Serration, Split Chamber, Heavy Caliber. Then your elementals, Infected Clip and Stormbringer for your corrosive, Hellfire for your fire, obviously, which will give you plus 25% versus the lighter units in the infested. And then, we get the corrosive to deal plus 75% extra damage versus the squids or the ancients in the infested faction. The next two weapons is totally down to you, but I'm using the Twinger Katas with a makeshift build because I haven't got all the mods that I need, but you can take a look at this and kind of make out for yourself. It's basically just main damage with Hornet Strike, Lethal Torrent, crit with Pistol, Gambit, Target Cracker, and then the rest are all elementals, so I'm going corrosive and fire. Pistol Pestilence you get from killing Corrupted Vor in the Void in the higher level missions like MOT. This will just give you more status chance plus toxin damage, and because I don't have the pistol toxin mod called Pathogen Rounds, which you can farm from Io and Jupiter as well, which will be a very easy farm whenever you have Equinox, if you pay attention to the method that I'm going to be using to sort of kill enemies here, then I'll make farming the Pathogen Rounds or the 90% elemental toxin mod for pistols very easy. And then last but not least, we have Broken War on here, and this is just a very straightforward build, nothing too special. In fact, I wouldn't even recommend copying this because we're going to be talking about a new way of basically building your melee weapons very shortly whenever we get our hands on Blood Rush. But just for now, this video is going to be based around kind of just learning how to use Equinox to her fullest potential, because she is a very effective frame, especially in a group, if you have like a Trinity or something, you know. So we're going to be focusing a lot on the, I think it's day form, I'm not too sure, I believe it's the day form. It's just because whenever I'm playing my main account, I have them sort of like mismatched. So this is the day form right here, and basically what you want to be doing is go ahead and start the mission. And you'll notice with the build that we're running, most of our abilities are going to cover like a wide or a large majority of the map. So let's say you're playing in a group and you want to play through this with friends. What I recommend doing is bringing 2 Equinoxes here, a Trinity, and a Necros. So the 2 Equinoxes, you'll be using those because it basically just covers half the map, right? So what we're going to do with Equinox is we're going to use your 3 first while in day form. And then you're going to use your 4. And then this is going to slash proc all these enemies. And you see how they're just like gradually losing health here. You can also deal damage to these guys. And then if you want to pay attention to the numbers up in the top right hand corner there, you see the percentage buff right there. That's our third ability, basically, you know, giving us more power strength. And then the second number, the one that keeps increasing as I kill enemies, that is the amount of damage that we have stored up with our 4th ability meme. So once we get enough of that, we can just go ahead and press 4 again while we're in the range of enemies, and then all that damage will be applied to said enemy that is in the radius. So you can see this swirly little blue line very faintly. This is your 3rd ability, and then whenever the floor looks liquid-like all watery and stuff like that, that is your 4th ability. And any enemy that steps on that there will have their, you know, obviously their health sort of like at away because of the slash procs, right? And you know, you kill enemies and you store the damage and you just rinse and repeat. And then all you really want to do is keep on, you know, storing up all that damage and then pressing 4 as much as you can to kill as many enemies as possible with the 1 burst off your 4th ability. So if you're actively playing as Equinox, it goes even faster, but you could potentially, if you're bringing 2 Equinoxes in here, have 1 Equinox standing here, have another Equinox standing over here, have a EV Trinity, you know, basically like looking for enemies as they spawn in, just using Energy Vampire so you get your energy back, and then having a Necros turning Desecrate on, which will basically reroll the drop tables or give you a better chance for extra loot, which is also another frame that we're going to be picking up in this series as well to make farming for Polymer and stuff like that there a lot easier, right? So let's just go ahead, press 4, kill all those bad guys. And then this is basically just how you speedrun through Orc Derelict defense with Mesa, right? So you just want to keep on doing this. This is probably one of the best places to farm Lift Relics. So if you need a part that drops from Lift Relics and you don't know where to farm Lift Relics, this is where you want to come. And you also want to, of course, bring Equinox, because Equinox just makes this extremely easy as well. Because, I mean, look how fast we're kind of just shredding through these waves here. We're in wave 4 already, which is pretty decent, at least in my opinion. So what you can do is you can just store up all the damage that you deal in a previous round to sort of like spawn kill a bunch of infested that spawn in the next round, right? So let's just go ahead, jump up, kill all these guys over here with our Soma, kill the guys on the pod 2, and then wait for wave 5 to start. Go ahead, kill them with a Broken War because we have that corrosive fire damage on there, and the Broken War is a pretty good weapon. You want to make sure that you're focusing the Squidward looking guys as well, or the Squids, the Ancients, because they can spawn in with healing effects, which will kind of mess you up whenever it comes to dealing damage with your 4th ability too. So I understand that this is a lot to take in, guys, but I mean, this is just, you know, how Equinox kind of works, right? So you want to make sure that you're maximizing and understanding everything about the frame. So it's basically turn on your 3, turn on your 4, walk near the bad guys, kill the bad guys, and then whenever you've killed enough bad guys, press 4 again, and then they're all just going to explode and die. And that's basically how you play Equinox. So she's a very amazing frame, and she scales very well into late game, because like if you're going into late game with a weapon such as the Sancti Tigris or the Tigris Prime or whatever, which deals mainly slash damage, you can store up a lot of damage relatively quickly and kind of just like, you know, spam murder a bunch of mobs, because you're already storing up a large amount of damage based on the amount of damage you're dealing with what's it called, your weapon, right? So the more damage you deal with your weapon, the more damage you're going to deal with Equinox's 4th ability, and the bigger impact you're going to have just on the match in general, right? You also notice there that on rotation A I got 240 endo, so this place may also be a good focus farm for those of you who are like looking to, you know, get into that. So it just makes sense for that endo to be there, because they know that players are going to be farming a lot for Mesa. because she has a very hard frame to sort of get your hands on, right? So you have to go out of your way to farm these Mutalist LV nav coordinates, which you can also get from invasions, by the way. Like, it's not like this is the only way to do this. Invasions are more of a surefire way. It's just if you want to actively farm Mesa and you want to go out of your way to get Mesa, this is where you come to do it, right? So you can definitely pay attention to the invasions as well and get your Mutalist LV nav coordinates from there. You'll only ever get the Mutalist LV nav coordinates from those invasions whenever it is versus the infested. So, like, you're not able to choose sides. It's just going to be like an infested outbreak, and the reward may potentially be a Mutalist LV nav coordinate. Of course, it'll tell you if it's going to be that, so you don't waste your time doing something that you know, won't benefit from, but you know, it's there, and it's definitely something that you want to pay attention to. But if you want to go out of your way to farm for Mesa, this is definitely what you want to be doing, because this will just speed up the process. Of course, you're only going to get like one Mutalist LV nav coordinate from each rotation, but again, if you bring 2 Equinoxes here, a Necros and a Trinity, it'll make this very easy and very beneficial, because you'll be getting a lot of resources like Oricon Cells, Neurodes, Nanospores, Mutagen Samples, which the Mutagen Samples you'll need for your clan's dojo, especially if you're starting fresh. Like, if you're just starting a new dojo, you'll need those. And even if you're in a bigger clan, if they don't have the HEMA done, then they'll like you a lot if you're spending Mutagen Samples to get the HEMA research done, because the HEMA, it costs 500,000 Mutagen Samples, and they're kind of a rare drop. So that's why you want to bring the Necros, that's why you want to bring the 2 Equinoxes, because 2 Equinoxes will make it easy, and then Trinity, obviously, just for, well, 1, the healing, and then 2, the, or no, other way around, 1, the energy regen, and then 2, the healing, because the healing can be pretty nice as well, even though Equinox can also allow you to do that, right? So you don't necessarily need to have Trinity for healing. So definitely go, if you are planning on bringing a Trinity, make sure that the person who's playing as Trinity is running a negative duration build with a very high amount of power strength, decent amount of efficiency, and a decent amount of range as well, because that's going to be your energy vampire build, which again we'll be talking a little bit more about later on in this guide. Trinity, in my opinion, is just kind of one of those essential frames whenever it comes to like high level play or putting a team composition together, because Trinity just makes your life a whole lot easier, at least again in my opinion. There is other frames out there which can restore your energy like Harrow and such, but they require a lot more effort to sort of get that done. And also, like, Trinity has a bunch of very good augments, which also puts her like a tier above like everything else. She may be nerfed in the future, but I don't think it's going to be a nerf that comes anytime soon, at least not within this year. Maybe the end of 2018, not too sure. But, you know, she's one of those frames which is very powerful at the minute, and for other frames to kind of be, you know, considered over her, she would have to be kind of like brought down a little bit, at least in my opinion. I don't know. But, you know, there is other frames out there like Harrow, but he requires more work to kind of get your energy going and stuff like that. You just have to be actively killing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're farming something like a defense. But, you know, just because of how lazy your Trinity can be and how much energy you get back from one cast of Energy Vampire, it puts Trinity a cut above the rest of all the other competition, right? So that's what you don't want to be focusing on whenever you're like choosing frames, just making something, or making sure that you're choosing frames which will like ease the process, right? So that's why, in my opinion, having 2 Equinoxes here is great, because you can have 1 Equinox covering each side, right, with your 4th ability if you're running Stretch and Overextended, which you should be running Overextended. Even though Overextended will remove your power strength, or will take a big hit to your power strength, the thing with Equinox is, like, you're getting most of your damage, or you're dealing most of your damage with pressing the 4th ability twice, right? So you're pressing your 4th ability, you're killing all the bad guys, and then you're pressing it again to kind of like finish them off, or, you know, kill a group of fully healthed or fully healed enemies as they just spawn in, right? So obviously you could get more like passive slash proc damage if you were to remove Overextended, but then that would take away from the range of the AoE explosion that you can deal just by pressing 4. And it's not like these enemies are relatively high level anyway, so it just makes sense just to have that extra little bit of range on there, so you can kill more enemies more efficiently, more quickly. Plus, most of your damage is also going to come from the slash procs too, because remember, slash procs eat away at the enemy's total health as soon as they get slash procs. So I can, you know, stand over near these guys, let them have their slash proc, and then run away from them, and they'll still keep on bleeding, right, for the duration of the status effect, right? Obviously, you can't just go ahead, run over them again, and have that status proc reapplied, because then that would be overpowered, but you can run over to them and press 4 with all the built-up slash damage that you have on your maim already, okay? So that makes Equinox very beneficial to have in your party, but we're coming to the last couple of waves now, so we should be good to go. You know, you'd expect that this is where it's going to pick up a little bit, but the enemies are level 31. We have our elemental mods on. We have Point Strike. We have Vital Sense. The Soma just kind of shreds through these guys because it is a slash weapon and stuff like that. You know, so we also have our slash procs coming from our Equinox too, so it makes it that much easier. And then obviously we have the Broken War, and we have the Twinkle Hat. This is a backup too. It's just like jumping around with the Soma because it makes it relatively easy, you know. So let's just go ahead and end that guy. And these guys over here, like so. We have cleared. We're moving on to wave 12. Should be very simple. Like, and I barely lost any energy either. Like, because I've been killing them so much, we've been getting all that energy back. So you don't even have to worry about potentially bringing a Trinity. But if you're playing in a group of 4 and you're wanting to just kind of like make this as easy as possible, then go ahead and bring a Trinity or whatever, and then that'll make this really easy on you. But like I said, if you're playing solo, you're going to get enough energy back from just, you know, using your maim and killing the enemies. But if you're a little bit deeper into the game, you can also do this like with Zeneric or whatever, using the energizing dash. You may not even need to bring a Trinity, so you could bring something like, I don't know, World on Fire Ember, for example, more AoE damage or whatever. You know, that's definitely a possibility. Maybe Banshee, Resonating Quake if you want to. Just plop them in the middle of the map or something like that. You know, there's so much stuff that you could do. Just bring a high damage AoE frame, and then you should be good to go for just speedrunning through Orc and Derelict defense. It just makes it so easy. You could even potentially bring weapons here to level if you really wanted to. Like, this used to be one of the go-to leveling spots way back whenever I started playing the game, and I'm pretty sure the XP values haven't changed that much, so you're still getting the same amount of XP. You're still farming the Orc cells, you're still farming the Neurodes, you're still farming the Nanospores, the Mutants and Samples, etc. You're getting the Lift Relics, you're getting Endo, you're getting those Mutalist LV nav coordinates. Even though they are a relatively rare drop, we may not even get it from this run, but you still have the potential to get them, and this is where you would come to, you know, sort of get that done. But I guess the whole idea of this video is to kind of just show you guys how good Equinox can be, especially for a starting player, because keep in mind, like, we didn't use any Forma in this build, right? So, you know, that's already a like game changer for most players, because they'll look at a frame and they're like, oh, but for me to use this frame that's max potential, I need to Forma it, and then here's me just shitting on, you know, the Infested of Equinox right here. And like level 30 to 40 is like the highest level content that you're going to get in the star chart anyway, unless you're jumping in the sorties. So, you know, it makes a lot of sense for a newer player to just go ahead and pick up Equinox, understand the basics of modding the Soma, and then just jumping in and killing a bunch of enemies, you know, because that's kind of what Warframe is all about. So you can use Equinox in pretty much any content in the game. I'd say Equinox only really falls off whenever the enemy has something to sort of like resist the slash damage, right? So like, let's say the enemy has armor, they're going to have more effective HP, right? So it just makes them a lot harder to kill. But enemies like the Corpus or the Infested, they're just going to die to Equinox because, you know, they barely have any health. Of course, the Corpus have shields, but the thing with the shields is Equinox's meme or the slash proc is going to go ahead and eat through those, right? The thing with armor is the enemies that have armor just have a lot more effective HP to begin with, so Equinox is a little bit worse versus them, but, you know, all you have to do is go ahead and bring like something like Corrosive Projection or something, and then, you know, the enemies are pretty much no more, right? So they'll just die to Equinox's meme in no time because all they have is the flesh. Plus, you'll be able to kill those guys a lot easier too with your weapons, like, you know, the Soma or whatever, because they have like absolutely no resistances. You'll be able to mod for viral damage and stuff like that. So it kind of just makes it relatively insane, you know. So you can take Equinox pretty much anywhere, and she'll still perform well on the star chart with the build that we are using. But speaking of that, we are actually finally running out of energy here, which is bad. Which is very, very bad. Let's just go ahead and see if we can pick up the rest of all the stuff. Kill these guys. There we go. Jump up here. Press my 4 again. Got the slash procs on. Deal a little bit of damage. Press 4 again, and everything's dead. Probably should have did that more towards the center of the map, because we had some healers and stuff like that, but, you know, it's whatever, man. It's whatever. But kill this guy, so yeah, hopefully this video showed you how to effectively solo ODD and hopefully get a Mutalist LV nav coordinate like we didn't get, but we did get a little bit more endo. Staying up the wave 15 is ideal. You could potentially stay up until wave 20 if you really wanted to get like mods or whatever. That's totally up to you, but as far as I'm aware, it's wave 15. I did Google it yesterday just to make sure that I was correct, and it's wave 15 rotation B. That's where you get the Mutalist LV nav coordinate. Like I said, it is a rare drop, and you can get them just by going up here, going through navigation, going to this little fist, and then going looking for infested outbreaks, and then seeing what the rewards are for the things that you do. So you have to run these missions like 3 times. So to get the reward, like let's say I wanted to do this one. If I wanted to get the Detonite Injector over here, I would have to support the Grenier 3 times versus the Infested. And then whenever this invasion is over, then I would get a message in my inbox saying, hey, Flynn, you know how you helped the Grenier? Here's your thing for helping the Grenier. And then that would be pretty much it. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it for episode 29 of Warframe, the Ultimate Beginner's Guide. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, hit that like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.